All right, what's up, guys? I'm kind of excited to do this video because I enjoy talking about things that piss people off to an extent, that make people uncomfortable. Because I believe that a subject shouldn't be able to piss you off. I think it's a little bit of a weakness. I think you should be able to handle a conversation about any information without letting it rile you up or letting it make you emotional. So if I know that, if I'm talking about a certain subject and I know that people are just going to be all huffy and puffy just because it came up, I think that's a little bit funny. So, with that being said, let's talk about Donald Trump. All right, that's the big elephant in the room. I don't even really want to talk about Donald Trump per se, but let's talk about how the Trump presidency has polarized America. And there's two different arguments on that. So America is extremely politically polarized right now. When I was growing up, I grew up right-wing. I mean, I wasn't right-wing, but I grew up in a Christian conservative home. Let's put it that way. Fox News was on. We all of the people in my house, all of our family, friends and stuff were, just like white Christian people, which I'm not saying that's a problem, but that's just the way. I'm just letting you know where I grew, like how I grew up. And then, I, at a young age, high school, college age, I was very liberal, like most people are. And then somehow I just kind of just ended up thinking they're both stupid. And I kind of just am somewhere in the middle now or whatever. But I think it's pretty clear, no matter what side you're on, that there's a massive, the political polarization in the United States is I can't say an all-time high because we did have a civil war back in the day where a bunch of people died, so I can't say it's an all-time high, but it's definitely the highest it's ever been in my lifetime by far. And of course, the left wing will say that's because Donald Trump's a piece of shit in his Twitter feed, and that's why everybody's so angry, and that's why we're so polarized. The right wing will say it's actually because you guys on the left wing are acting like complete nut jobs and maniacs. That's why it's actually so polarized. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not here to talk about why it's happening. I'm not going to point fingers, but it definitely is happening. I think we can all agree on that. And I just want to, one thing that I've noticed that I think is very fascinating that's come from this is I think that the right wing has been very humbled in the last 3 years. And I say that because I think you guys it used to just be, we would have this kind of rivalry left and right. And, you could still go to like a church barbecue or a family get together and you kind of didn't really care for those people's point of view, but you could see past it. Be like, I don't agree with you on this. It was kind of like sports rivalries, right? Like, okay, well, you like the Yankees and I like the Red Sox. And if we talk about sports, I don't like you. But in the meantime, I think you're a nice person and I want your family to do well and I want you to eat and have a good time, And that's how it used to be with politics. It's like, we're not going to vote for the same person, but I think you're still a nice person. That's out the window. I mean, I see so many things on Facebook nowadays where it's like, if you think this, go ahead and delete me. You're everybody's a piece. Anybody that thinks this way is a racist. Everybody that supports this person's racist. All these things. There's basically the whole idea of sitting down and discussing things with people that are on the other side. And this is mostly the left wing doing this, I got to say. The room for just us being together at a barbecue and having different political opinions is that's not really happening anymore in this day and age. And I think that this has really humbled conservatives because it used to be more of an even playing field. Left-wing people would say their piece and right-wing people would say their piece, and you go back and forth and maybe you don't get along and don't agree, but whatever. And I think conservatives really enjoyed having these debates, but now they're being called just a racist all the time. Now it's just it's actually a hatred. Like Republican has become a dirty word. And I've had friends that I haven't heard from in decades message me recently because I've taken a stance because I don't really care. My opinion is in the middle. So, if a person's just railing on about Trump, I'm going to question it. Like, why? Give me some of your, don't just say, Trump's an idiot, he's a racist, I'm like, I'm going to challenge it just because I want to hear something more than just you just giving a narrative. I want you to give me some details. So I've appeared to be a Trump supporter just because I'm questioning Trump hatred. And that's not necessarily the case. I just want to have this, I just want to know. I just don't want people to just spout off things they've heard off of TV. So I've had a lot of conservatives reach out to me lately and send me messages and just say, thank you so much. They're basically scared. They're just quiet, like locked, like they don't even want to get on social media anymore. They don't want to even share their opinion because they're tired of being called a racist. There are people of, one of my buddies I went to junior high and high school with, I haven't heard from him in years. He called me up. He's talking about, he got in a debate with somebody and they were talking about his children. This is really, really sad. But I think a lot of conservatives that were a lot quicker to enter the political debate before are now they basically have been silenced. And I know a lot of left-wingers, a lot of leftists, I should say, are actually really happy about that. Like, we shut them down. Well, you didn't shut them down. You didn't shut down their ability to vote. I mean, you might have made them quieter, but they're still going to go vote. And they're especially going to vote now because now you've pissed them off. So now they might not be saying anything on Facebook, but they are for sure still going to vote for Donald Trump. And in fact, a lot more people are going to vote for Donald Trump because they're tired of being called a racist and all these things. People that were in the middle, kind of on the fence, like, I don't really like Donald Trump, but they're sick of it. They're like, well, you guys, you've insulted us so much. You've acted so incredibly crazy that we're kind of just going to go the opposite direction of all the things that you're saying because you sound like a crazy person. I don't blame them. Honestly, I don't blame them. But I think there's a new humility that's come to the right wing as a result of this, though, and because right wing people are used to just defending their views, but now they have to defend whether or not they're a racist. And I think a lot of them have taken a long look in the mirror and been like, well, am I racist? No, I'm not. I don't know. And they've really. And they're so much more ready to have a conversation now because they're so tired of just getting hate and being called racist and all these things. When they find a person like me that's kind of just in the middle, they're so happy to be able to talk to somebody like, oh my God, I honestly, I've wanted to know if I'm a racist or I wanted to know these things, but I can't talk to anybody on the left because they're crazy people. It's so nice to be able to maybe get some criticism or be able to have a debate and actually have a conversation. So I think that this whole deal has kind of softened the heart of a lot of people that were just hardcore right-wing people, hardcore conservative, and just always stick to their guns. Literally stuck to their guns. And I've really appreciated the humility I've seen coming out of the right wing, and I've really appreciated the conversations that I've had with right-wingers lately. I've really appreciated you guys reaching out to me and messages to ask me questions. Hey, is this wrong, or does this appear racist, or am I wrong for thinking this? That's all it's about, guys. Let's have this conversation. In the left wing has made it impossible to have a conversation, guys. So if you're on the left and you're seeing this and you're like a far left person, check yourself, because you got right-wingers that are trying to not be racist. They are trying to have a conversation, and you're just shitting on them and yelling at them and calling them names, and then they're just like, okay, but guess you didn't change their vote, is what I'm saying. You didn't do anything. But to the right-wingers I know that you want to discuss things. You want to, a lot of you, you're trying to become better people, or you're trying to make sure that your political perspectives are, well polished and things. I've really enjoyed the conversations with you guys, and I will continue to have conversations with right-wingers. And it's unfortunately I've had less and less conversations. I don't even want to get into political debates with leftists right now, guys. It's just the same. It's the same every single time. I know exactly where it's going to go. You're just going to talk about Trump. You're going to talk about his Twitter page. You're going to talk about how he's the destruction of all of America and all of mankind, and it just gets really repetitive. It gets really boring for me. Whether I agree with you or not, it just gets boring. So in this era of the Trump effect, I like to call it, of just this really polarized America, and for whatever reason, whatever the reasons it's so polarized, I just want to say, right-wingers, I see you right now, and I will continue to have these conversations with you. If you're friends with me, if we're friends on social media, and you don't want to get involved in the public sphere because you don't want to be accused of being racist, or you don't want to be yelled at by crazy leftists, yeah, shoot me a message. Feel free to ask me something. Hey, is this racist? Or what are your thoughts as a black guy? What are your thoughts on this? I'm an open book. I love to have a debate about racial issues. I love when you come to me with that, because that shows that your heart, that you're concerned. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask. If you were an actual racist, you wouldn't ask me that question. You would just be like, you wouldn't even want to talk to me. So I appreciate that open-mindedness. I appreciate that heart. And don't let yourselves get so beat up, right-wing people. I know you're kind of locked in your houses, looking through the blinds like, oh my God, the left is going crazy. And you don't want to get on social media. I know a lot of people have canceled their Facebook accounts and things like that. I get it. I completely get it. I know you don't want to be a part of it right now. But, and to other left-wingers, I would encourage you, make yourself available, especially if you're black. If you're a black person, if you're a black American who's a liberal, don't be giving out these demands on Facebook saying, white people need to do this. That's not helpful. Okay, make yourself available to have this conversation. Make yourself make your Facebook post shouldn't be giving a list of demands to white people. Your Facebook post should say, hey, if you're a white conservative and you would like to discuss racial issues, please message me. That's what your Facebook post should say, instead of saying, if you think this way, just erase me now, just delete me now. That's not helpful. Say, hey, if you think this way, would you please message me? I'd like to have a debate with you. Try that. Instead of saying delete me now, say, please, let's debate. Let's message me for a good debate. Try that out and see if we don't turn this franchise around.